Hello and welcome to today's masterclass. We are going to be talking about holding real containment for clients. We do that by becoming deeply resourced and regulated ourselves. So who is this training for? You will know you're in the right place if in your work you're feeling ungrounded, overwhelmed, or maybe too open in client sessions. You might tend to merge with clients or absorb their energy or emotions. You tend to lose body awareness and realize that you're up in your head, or maybe your energy's out in front of you listening for the client. You might feel drained, overstimulated, or anxious before or after sessions. Maybe you just know that you're meant to hold deeper work, but your nervous system doesn't feel resourced enough yet. Or you just want to feel steady, resourced, and embodied in your leadership. And if you're ready to build real nervous system capacity and show up grounded and present with your clients, this training's for you. Let's get started. First off, hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Emily Baldwin. I have over 9 years experience training and practicing with somatic experiencing and shamanic ceremonial work. I've served hundreds of clients at this point in wellness, community and relational healing, spiritual gifts and connection, embodiment, nervous system healing, and I'm really honored to have you here. I am an absolute nerd about this work. And I'm super passionate about guiding and teaching folks all of the amazing things that my teachers and clients have taught me over the years. This work is absolutely sacred to me. One of the most vulnerable times in our life will be when we are doing healing work. And that's when we deserve the most clean, well-trained, and loving care. So I really want to support the people doing this work and being in service. Why this matters. Most practitioners struggle with containment not because they lack skill, but because their nervous systems don't have enough capacity, or because they haven't excavated those depths within themselves and or created that level of safety within themselves, which is understandable because that's not what we're taught on planet Earth. When we are under-resourced, we can't offer containment, no matter how many certifications we have or how well-trained we are. Our clients' progress is always going to be limited by how resourced we are as practitioners, the depth of our own inner work and integration, and the depth and strength of our own containment and container. That, and just as a baseline, we all deserve to operate grounded, resourced, contained, and supported. So first off, what is containment? One of the main foundational ways that I was taught in my shamanic training was that we are here to create an environment that is conducive to the healing process. We're here to create that safe, grounded space that is really a co-creation, and it helps the client not get overwhelmed or re-traumatized in the process, which can happen. There is a co-regulation aspect to containment. So this is the practitioner's ability to stay grounded, to hold steady regulation, so then the client can borrow that stability. Next is temporal. So anchoring the client in the present moment, helping them stay right here, right now, so they don't get stuck in old trauma or old memories or disassociate. Next is interpersonal. And this is honestly one of the most important aspects of our work, is creating and solidifying a very solid foundation of trust between you and the client, knowing that they can come to you with some of the most vulnerable and hardest things that they've ever gone through, and we can hold it and we can hold them with loving kindness and stay regulated in doing so. And then finally, we can also think of containment as energetic. So it's kind of the energetic soup that we are both swimming in, the facilitator and the client. You can think of it as the co-created relational field that lets the client know, hey, I see you, you're safe. So why do we lose containment? I found 4 main culprits here. So the first is lack of safety. Your body doesn't feel safe, so you might collapse, disassociate, split, fragment, or overfunction. So trying to do the client's work for them, which definitely was the case for me in the beginning of my practice. Second is a lack of boundaries. So your system merges with the client. Maybe there's a loss of differentiation and or the boundaries around your structure, your schedule, that kind of a thing. Next can be unhealthy and unsustainable tools. Maybe you're relying on willpower, forced relaxation, or caffeine instead of actual groundedness, energy, fuel, and regulation. And then last is a lack of self-care. So maybe you haven't taken care of your body's needs. And when we are dysregulated or we haven't slept or eaten properly, we're not able to really hold containment for ourselves or our client sessions. So I wanted to give you some before, during, and after resources, some quick wins for you for your practice. Before sessions, it's really good to just go back to the basics of self-care and ask, have I eaten? Have I gone to the bathroom? Nothing worse to having 45 minutes left of your session and you really have to pee, but your client's in a really deep process that can't be interrupted. Also, have you had water or tea prepared? I really like to hold that warm cup of tea in my hands. It can help me stay grounded in my body and grounded in the present moment. And then here are some of my favorite grounding practices. Please use them. The first one we can practice now. I call it coming back to our ground. So in this moment, can you, with your presence and awareness, come down into your body, specifically in the parts of your body that are in contact with the surface underneath you and behind you, where the couch, bed, surface underneath you is literally supporting you in this moment. And then just notice, yeah, my body wants to give a sigh. My body wants to sink into that support. There can be a feeling of relief, groundedness. It can help settle your nervous system. But this is my bread and butter. I do this before, during, sometimes multiple times during, after sessions. So this is going to be a great resource for you. Next is dropping a grounding cord. So with this, we can also practice together. So you're just going to come with your presence and awareness to your root chakra at the base of your spine. And notice what that feels like as we simply intend to open and activate the root chakra just by being here and being present with it. And then when you feel like it's activated, open, I send a million roots, not just one, but a million from the base of my spine through the furniture, through the building, into the earth, past the water table, past the crust, past all of the layers of the earth, the mantle, the outer core, the inner core, and then I wrap those million roots around the crystalline center of the earth. And then with the breath in, I invite that good Pachamama energy up through all of those roots, hitting my body at the top of the breath. And just notice how that feels to be rooted, grounded, tethered to the earth. This is a practice that you can do before, multiple times during, and after sessions. Next, I like to imagine an energetic bubble encapsulating both me and the client before the session. Sometimes if I feel a little dysregulated or a little more open than I want to be, or the client is really going through a big process, I'll put an energetic bubble around them and I'll put one around me and just intend that their energy can't come out of their bubble, can't come into my bubble. And same with mine. My energy can't come out of my bubble, can't go into theirs. And it's more like, the two bubbles meet here at an edge and the information still gets shared. So I'm still able to be in resonance with the client, feel echoes of what they might be feeling, and get the information that will help serve them for the session. But there are clear boundaries energetically and a delineation between their space and mine. And then I always, before my sessions, before group ceremony work, I always send a prayer out to my guides, angels, ancestors, and helper spirits, and those of my clients. And I usually just say, please let me be of service. Let me have eyes that see, ears that hear. Help me to see the things that see the things that would help serve my client. And please help me to get my ego, my stuff out of the way so I can be fully present with the client and truly be of service. And then during the session, so come back to your ground is always a really good one. I like to practice the pause. This is a somatic experiencing resource. And you want to ask for consent to interrupt them at the beginning of sessions. Otherwise, it could be a little bit jarring for their system, but practicing the pause can help interrupt firing neurons that might go 0 to 60 in no time flat. It can help interrupt patterns that are really ingrained, which is what we're here to do. And it can also be for you. So if you feel yourself getting ungrounded, it can be nice to just say, hey, let's just pause right here and feel into your body, maybe come back to your breath, and let's just anchor into this present moment before moving forward. It can be a really nice way to come back to the present and to regulate yourself before moving forward. 2 more resources from somatic experiencing is orienting and resourcing. There is something about the mammalian nervous system when we orient or just look around the room and let our eyes wander where they want to go. This practice helps mammals experience and literally see the lack of physical threat in the space. It helps us to come back to this present moment and for our nervous system to settle, to help anchor us into the present, anchor us back into our bodies. It can be good for our clients. It can also be good for us. Now, a lot of times it's really important for the client to know that we see them and that we're with them and we're present with them. So you looking around the room could actually be kind of disruptive to them. In that case, what I'll do is I'll put a resource. So a resource can be something outside of us. I really like plants, but it can be an object that by looking at this object, it helps us come back to the present moment, feel safe in our bodies, feel resourced, feel grounded. And so what I'll do, especially for my Zoom sessions, is I will take that resource and I'll put it behind my computer somewhere around the camera area so I can look at the resource while still staying with them and not interrupting them or having them see that I'm off looking at something else, breaking the flow of the session. But I find that having a resource for me can really help me be more present and serve my clients better. Resources can also be internal. Maybe there is a part of my body that feels grounded, present, safe. Usually it's my ground, but it doesn't have to be. Or with the client, is there a part of your body that is not participating in this big flush of trauma energy or activation that just came up? Is there a part of your body that feels beige, neutral, grounded, safe? And then you hang out with that body part for as long as you need, and usually longer than we think. Our minds go pretty quick, but the body moves very slowly. And to actually sink into that resourced place, we usually need a good 5-10 minutes. Orienting and resourcing can be done for the client at the beginning of every session, and they'll get better and more practiced at it the more they do it. Orienting and resourcing are bread and butter for somatic experiencing and one of the only things that clients can actually practice themselves. Next, oftentimes when I'm in session, I will notice that I am so drawn in by, curious by, present with my client that I'm literally leaning forward, and sometimes my energy leaves my body and is out here almost listening for the client. So what I'll do is when I notice I'm leaning forward, I will put my hand on my chest and just very slowly imagining my energy coming back into my body and letting my body come back upright, sort of come back into my own field, my own body. If I need to be a little bit more subtle than that, sometimes I'll, just play with my necklace real quick. I'll press it to my chest and I'll just very slowly, again, imagining my energy coming back into my body, coming back into alignment. That helps me not merge with them and be present and anchored in my own body. Next is self-touch. So I really like holding my own hands. There's something about skin-on-skin contact, and self-touch both helps release oxytocin in your system, and it can help anchor you into your body. This can just be a physical representation of you saying to yourself, hey, I've got you. Yes, we're holding space for someone, but I'm right here being present with myself, my own body, anchored in this moment. Weighted blankets over our laps, great for clients, but also great for the practitioner. And then I always like to hold a grounding crystal like a black tourmaline or a clear quartz crystal is great because then you can program it to be anything. Literally just holding it in your hand and saying, I intend for this crystal to be a grounding presence for me and anchoring me so that I can be of service. And it will hold that energy. And then after or between sessions, it's really important to help clear the energy of the previous session, maybe reclaim your own body and get back into your body and clear things out so that you can be fully present for the next client and so that you're not taking the energy of the previous session into the next session. So I like to do this by humming, toning, or singing. What that does is it stimulates the vagus nerve that goes up the sides of your neck that connects to your vocal cords. And it can help stimulate the vagus nerve, bring you back into the present moment, help your nervous system settle a bit. Dancing or shaking can be particularly effective, especially for my more heavy sessions. It can help me get back into my own body, shake off any energy I might have taken on, and clean and clear out my field so that I can really be present and of service for the next client. Sage or clearing spray can really be good too. And then I have a closing ritual for all of my sessions. I will literally imagine the curtains closing, the energy closing on the energy of that session. I will either snap or clap to close and break the energy, break the container of that session. And I'll say something to the effect of, I close the energy of this session. My energy is no longer available for client name. And then I just imagine myself taking the vulnerable part of them that I might have been holding or swaddling or holding space for and handing it off to their guides, angels, ancestors, and helper spirits so that they're still taken care of, but it clears up my energy so that I can hold space for the next client. So these are some great tips and tricks that I hope will serve you. But let's take a step back and think about containment from more of a 10,000-foot view. Really, when we're talking about holding a container and the depth and strength and safety of our containers, there's a lot more to consider. First, do you need to upgrade your structure? For me, it is necessary to have a half an hour between clients in case the previous session ran over, or if I need to eat in order to ground, or if I just need to rest, go into a blank space so that I can clear out any of those other practices, energetically, mentally, emotionally, and physically prepare for the next session. It's really important to be honest about your capacity. So for me, because of all of the other things that I'm doing and because of the nature of my work, my sessions are a little bit longer. They're usually anywhere from an hour and 15 to 2 hours. And the clients that I am working with, we've been working together for years now, and we're really at the level of core wounding. The energy of that and the energy to hold space for that depth of work, it takes a lot. And so for me, I really can only do 3, maybe 4 sessions in a day, more like 2 or 3 if I want to be able to do anything else and work on content or work on the business or work on my projects. So being really honest with yourself about capacity and how many clients you really can see in a day. And then along with that, if you need to scale back your client load, what other changes could help support that? So do you need to raise your exchange? Maybe it's delegating responsibilities, adding partners or joining a practice, or maybe adding some support. And then getting really honest with yourself about what practices help me and which ones hinder me. Caffeine is a big one. I've never been a big coffee drinker, but caffeine from coffee puts you on a roller coaster. And I think either a quarter or a half of it stays in your system after 12 hours. And so I would highly recommend making the switch over to matcha. It has a bunch of polyphenols and antioxidants, and the L-theanine in it helps calm your nervous system to the point where you just have alert presence instead of being jacked on caffeine. Next is nourishment hydration. So really starting to view food as fuel. We're going to want to avoid blood sugar spikes. We do that by starting each meal, especially the first one of the day, with fiber, healthy fats, and protein, and then having your carbs at the end, going more towards complex carbs and starches, and maybe starches that have been cooked, refrigerated, and then heated back up again instead of simple carbs, lots of sugars, pastries, soda, processed foods. That food is really fragmented. It's going to be harder for your body to break down. It's not fuel. It actually hinders your ability to fuel and be nourished for your clients. And then hydration. Most of us are actually really dehydrated. So keeping water on us so that we can just sip throughout the day. We talked a little bit about closing and cleansing rituals. Maybe there is a grounding preparation ritual that you want to create for yourself for the beginning of the day to really anchor in. Feel free to use the grounding cord meditation. And yeah, this is a much larger conversation. Our ability to hold a container that is safe, deep, and capacious for our clients is a direct result of our own inner work. When we deepen that, when we excavate and learn how to love and integrate those exiled and fragmented parts of ourselves, when we do that inner work ourselves, then we're able to really hold space for our clients in a deeper way. So it's really important to be honest with yourself about what's in your scope of practice. How much capacity do you have? And in the moment, that's going to change from day to day. These are all considerations that will help you go to the level that is conducive to health and healing and growth and transformation and not unintentionally do harm. So as I alluded to, really this is just the tip of the iceberg. And for those of y'all that this is as deep as you want to go, that is wonderful. I hope you got a lot out of this. Thank you so much for spending time with us. For those of y'all who are my fellow nerds that want to go deeper, the real invitation here is to do the inner work that strengthens your nervous system, expands your capacity, and then upgrades the way that you can hold space for your clients and serve them. So if you're ready for more of a full quantum leap forward, this is what I do. I help practitioners, therapists, and coaches upgrade and evolve into new earth leaders. And we do that by deepening our own inner healing work. And then that expands our client impact. We do this through somatic work, shamanic facilitation, and earth medicine. It's a multidimensional approach. It's a 6-month program that we're launching in January. I am so excited about it. I have poured my heart and soul into this. It is the culmination of 9 years of amazing work. For those of y'all who know me, I dove into this work with both feet. And so I am calling in the people who are ready to do so together in a whole container of fellow-hearted healing nerds. So if that's you, here's my email. Feel free to DM me on Instagram or email me, and let's set up a clarity call to see if you're the right fit for the program and the program is the right fit for you. Either way, I just want to say a giant thank you to everyone who has stayed with me until the end of this masterclass. As you can tell, I love this work. I am passionate about it. And I want to thank you for doing your inner healing work, for showing up, for wanting to be able to hold deeper containers, wanting to be able to serve your clients better. Your service ripples out into the collective, and the world needs it right now. So thank you so much for your service and for being on this path with me. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all soon. Thanks.